A Super Mini needs to be so much more than just capable of carrying a couple of adults, a couple of kids, and a decent amount of luggage. It must be desirable, well-packaged, easy to drive, and pleasant to use. A dynamic character that mixes in some simple agility, litheness, and driver appeal is one road to standing out, but it's now only one among several. Increasingly, Super Minis offer a level of perceived quality, performance, and technological sophistication that bears comparison with that of bigger hatchbacks. And the very best combine some or all of that with the agility only a small light car can offer. However, before we begin our countdown, we would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel and also press the bell icon. Let's get started. Number 1. Seat Ibiza. The 5th generation Seat Ibiza stormed to the top of our Super Mini class rankings when it appeared in 2018 and has had a very successful facelift in 2021. The Spanish company went to great lengths to replace the decent 4th generation Ibiza with a handsome hatchback backed by real substance. It was the first of the Volkswagen Group's latest breed of MQB-based small hatchbacks, and since the recent facelift, it's also the best. Mimicking the bigger seat Leon in many ways, the Ibiza is roomy, well-equipped, and much better finished than before. Combine that with its fine on-road handling and refinement manners, its value-for-money position, its impressive equipment features, and its youthful styling, and it all adds up to a class-leading proposition for us. It's not quite as entertaining to drive as the Ford, but it's close, and since the recent update, the interior is much improved, with more soft-touch materials, a more interesting dashboard design, and Seat's latest infotainment system, even if it can be buggy on some cars. The Ibiza is our current class leader because it is a more rounded, upmarket ownership proposition than the Ford, but still more fun to drive than the Polo, and it has a nicer interior than either of them. Number 2. Skoda Fabia. Skoda has seen a clear march upmarket in recent years, and that suits some of its models better than others. Some have got a bit too expensive, but with the brand new Fabia, Skoda has nailed the balance. It's no longer as cheap as it once was, but it's still one of the more affordable options in the class. Nevertheless, it is one of the most spacious Super Minis on the market, with only the Honda Jazz offering more room. The interior is not particularly plush, but especially in some of the lower-spec versions, it is as intuitive as it gets, with big, simple buttons and ergonomics that are spot-on. The engine range is similarly no-nonsense, with no hybrids or diesels available. Instead, there's a choice of 3 pots and 1 4-cylinder. We'd avoid the weedy, naturally aspirated models and go for the 95 pounds TSI, as the more powerful engines aren't really worth the additional outlay. Despite sharing much of its mechanical makeup with the Seat Ibiza and Volkswagen Polo, it neatly differentiates itself from those cars with its driving experience. The Fabia is not trying to be sporty or exciting. Instead, it rides extremely well without becoming frustratingly floaty in the corners. The Fabia works best as a practical value option, but if you value tech like Matrix LED headlight, assisted driving and active safety features, or a big touch screen and a digital gauge cluster, Skoda does offer all of these as options. Number 3. Ford Fiesta. The latest Fiesta had the difficult task of bettering its class-leading predecessor, which might have been the best handling Super Mini of the past 25 years. This new version is much more than just a reskin of the old one, and in some respects. Namely, its supple ride, sparkling on-road handling dynamism, and driver appeal. It remains best in class. However, the Fiesta's new crop of opponents have moved the Super Mini game on in ways that this Ford can't quite cover. Interior quality lets the Fiesta down compared with the very best Super Minis, and equipment sophistication and practicality are not quite in the same league as in the VW Polo or Seat Ibiza either. However, we'll drive the facelifted version in 2022, which might put the Fiesta back at the top of this list. The Fiesta's EcoBoost 3-cylinder turbocharged petrol engines remain outstanding for their blend of drivability and zest, however, and, even after so long with the same unimpeachable positioning, it remains the Super Mini that a keen driver should default to almost without thinking. It's simply miles better to drive than it really needs to be. Number 4. Volkswagen Polo. Still the sensible supermini of choice and recently facelifted. The latest VW Polo is usable, refined, easygoing, spacious, comfortable, smart to look at, and very solidly built. That kind of roster of qualities, presented at a price that's not as high as with other VW models, makes it one of the very best option in a super competitive class. Compared with the previous generation car, this new Polo is a huge departure, mixing more impressive onboard technology with improved dynamic capabilities. Engines are almost universally strong, and both rolling and mechanical refinement are very good, while there's room in the back seats for average-sized adults as well as kids. The Polo's ascent up our top 10 list shows how close it is to being the ideal supermini. And that's pretty painfully close. It used to be at the top, but other cars have come along with a more imaginative appearance, more vim on the road, and an interior that feels both more playful and more upmarket. It's also quite pricey, and cars like the Fiesta and Ibiza are more fun to drive. Number 5. Renault Clio. Not only is the new Clio still a charming-looking supermini, the latest generation has gained newfound substance and some new fundamental strengths behind its chic aesthetic. Cabin design, ergonomic layout, and perceived quality have all been improved considerably to near class-leading levels, while value for money remains a real strong suit. The car rides challenging stretches of tarmac with more of a stiff-legged, occasionally slightly wooden-feeling gait than you expect of a French car. It's far from uncomfortably, though less supple than it once was. The car's more serious gait doesn't cause it to forgo handling verve, though. It might not have the most communicative steering rack, but handling is intuitive and natural feeling. And although the car rolls a bit more than some might like, there's a striking sense of inherent cornering balance in its chassis. Sadly, there won't be an RS version. Instead, the fastest Clio is the 138 brake horsepower Renault Clio E-Tech Hybrid. For a supermini, that makes it quite expensive, but no more so than hybrid-only rivals like the Toyota Yaris or Honda Jazz. The E-Tech powertrain can feel a little underpowered in larger cars, but for the Clio, it's perfect and makes it quicker and more engaging than the two Japanese hybrids. So that's it for today. If you find this video helpful, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with others. Also, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new uploads. In the end, thanks for watching and see you next time.